night. It's true. With our voices soft as thunder, the wicked witch of the West is dead. Let us be glad. Let us be great. Thanks for that, Z. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Holding Space with Z and Lee. You're right, babes.
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good. I'm a little bit hot in this hat, but I'm dedicated to wearing green.
Elphaba.
Elphaba.
Glinda.
Elphaba.
Glinda.
I'm a witch.
And I'm a witch.
But
which is which? I was gonna say it in unison, but it's fine. It's okay.
It's okay.
It's all right, babe.
It's all right. So it would be silly of us not to have the first episode and not acknowledge the fact that this podcast was very much inspired by some of the happenings that happened during the Wicked
premiere
press tour.
Yes.
Very long press tour, but
yes.
Press tour. And so what are we holding space for? We are holding space for Wicked. All things Wicked is what you called it, right?
All things, no, Wicked and nothing but Wicked.
And nothing but Wicked. So, holding space for Wicked. I guess we saw the film in November of last year.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I feel like it came at a very good time. It was actually one of the moments that bonded us for life. I think I went in excited about it. I'd seen Wicked when I was 13. So that is, oh my God, maths. I'm 32. Nearly 20 years ago.
20 years
Nearly 20 years ago.
Yes.
And I was lucky enough to see it with Indina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth. But for me, it was like a full circle moment because as like a kid, I've always been into witches. I was a big Charmed fan.
Okay.
I'm a big Harry Potter fan. Anything magical, anything with the spell, anything with a Wingardium Leviosa, I am there, right? And so very excited to see the film. Obviously, a little bit apprehensive because I wasn't sure. I haven't seen Ariana Grande in anything since she was on Nickelodeon. Yeah. So I wasn't sure. It was such a big role and I felt like it means so much to so many people. I wasn't sure how she would do.
Yeah.
And so obviously I can report that she did a really good job.
Yes.
If you didn't know.
Yeah, I was so excited to see Cynthia. So I'm a Cynthia fan from her Color Purple. I think it was her debut.
You saw her in theater?
No, I didn't actually see her, but like just watching YouTube videos and whatnot.
Right.
And then I got to see her present an award to Ben Platt and kind of hear some of their inside stories and whatnot at a gala event. But I also was a little apprehensive for Ariana. But as we know, they did a phenomenal job. They both did.
I mean, that is like an understatement.
Yes.
I think that for me, I mean, one way that I can describe it is that I've never seen a movie in the theater or the cinema more than one time.
Yeah.
And this is the first movie that I went to see 3 times.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it just had a impact on me.
Yeah.
In a variety of ways, which we're going to talk about. But more than anything, it just brought me a lot of joy.
Yeah.
And it made me realize that like, there was a lot of joy that was missing from my life at that moment in time.
Yeah.
And still is. And I just felt like you couldn't take it all in one sitting. Because I think that I had never, obviously people laughed at certain scenes or cried at certain scenes.
Yeah.
But it was the first time also that I've been in the cinema theater with somebody or a group of people and you could feel the intense fixation on what was going on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Everybody was glued to the screen. And I think also pretty surprised by how amazing it actually was.
Yeah. No, I agree. I also want to quickly jump into why we call our podcast Holdin Space. Or maybe we can add a little clip in here.
Are you asking me to add in a clip?
Yes, can you?
Okay, sure.
I've seen this week people are taking the lyrics of Defying Gravity and really holding space with that and feeling power in that.
I didn't know that was happening.
I've seen it, yeah.
That's really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what I wanted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I didn't know that was happening.
I've seen it on a couple posts. I don't know how widespread, but I am in queer media, so that's my,
That's really cool.
But yeah, just how like chaotic and funny and queer that moment was, and how everybody just thought it was funny, and even afterward hearing Cynthia and Ariana be like, yeah, this was a very odd moment that we just kind of had no idea what was happening, and it became this thing.
And it's continued to, it's not as much a topic as it was in November.
Yeah.
But Ariana's referenced it in her. She's released 3 songs, and part of the lyrics is got Holding Space in it.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. And so, like, I don't think it's lost on them either.
Yeah.
They're very much in the joke as well.
Yeah.
And so, I hope if you happen to see a clip of us on Instagram and want to check out our show, feel free to reach out. Maybe you could be guest one day if there's another weird film. I don't know.
If there's a part 2.
Another part 2, like,
or something.
for good. I don't know. Like, feel free to put Holding Space on your press tour list of places to visit. Anyway, so Holding Space for Wicked.
Yes.
Tell me what was the most, what did you, when you went and saw it for the second and third and fourth time?
Yes. He saw it 3 times, so I saw it 4 times.
What do you think you've taken away? Like, you've had all this time to think about it. Like, what do you think is the most impactful thing about Wicked for you?
Well, I think obviously the political journey is definitely a big takeaway in terms of like seeing corruption happening and realizing what's happening and what you've been told versus what's actually behind the scenes.
Propaganda.
Yes. And so, like, to me, Wicked pointed out corruption that if you just think a little bit, you just put the dots together, you could see that. Like,
you have to be somebody that like is willing to be engaged enough to not just accept the information that you're given.
Right.
As well, though.
Like the wizard literally has no magic.
No.
Like,
but there's also, you have to also remember that there's always people around those people that make that more believable.
Right.
Because he wouldn't be able to be who he is.
Right.
Because I can't imagine he's the only one that knows that he doesn't have any magic.
Right.
Very clear that there are other people that are perpetuating a story that they don't necessarily believe because it benefits them to be closer to someone in power.
Right. Right.
So yeah, I think for me, I think for me, the most impactful thing was Elphaba being played by a Black actress. I think that having seen the musical the first time, I didn't walk away feeling necessarily connected to Elphaba in the same way that I felt as a Black man and as a queer person.
Yeah.
I think that just the moment it clicked for me wasn't when Elphaba was a baby.
Yeah.
But it was when she went to the school and they all were like, ugh, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit. Like, yeah, obviously I can see that she's green, but I also know that she's being played by Cynthia Erivo, who's a Black woman.
Yeah.
And I have seen a interpretation of that in real life, right? Where it is people that are different. Probably my first experience of that is in school.
Yeah.
There's somebody that is different. Maybe they have joined the class from another country and English is their second language. It's a guy who's quite effeminate.
Yeah.
It's a girl who's quite masculine, or somebody that is not deemed to be conventionally attractive. That version of right?
Yeah.
Has happened to all of those people, including me.
Right.
Because people don't quite understand you're not part of the norm. So if you're not part of the norm, my response is yuck.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that really stood out to me. And then also, obviously, as the film went on, just the relationship between Glinda and Elphaba as well where it was easy to demonize Elphaba because of the fact that she was green.
Yeah.
And I've seen that happen to many Black females in real life.
Yeah.
I also think that Elphaba being a Black woman and deciding that her pain isn't the pain that she's going to prioritize, but she's going to stand up for people that are in an even less privileged position than her. And that's something that I see Black women, the Black community, people of color, queer people do a lot. So Cynthia being Black and queer and being in this role just added a lot more depth to the role than when I saw it and was like, oh, that's just a witch.
Yes,
you know,
definitely did. Yeah.
But also, you know, I'm watching it as a adult, you know, who's experienced certain things.
Yeah.
At 13, I probably couldn't connect the dots in the same way, other than going, oh, they're bullying her, right? There's a lot more that is happening than that.
Yeah, I actually was connecting the school portion. It made me uncomfortable because we're so used to this cute little musical that's like the bullying song is so catchy. And you just want to sing along with this, dear Glinda, you are just, you know what I mean? You just want, like, it's so catchy. And to watch it on screen in this interpretation made me uncomfortable because I'm like, I don't want to sing along with this song because the reality is that is what's happening. It is tied to racism. It is that experience. And to sing that song like the previous cast, right? It doesn't hit the same. It's not the same meaning, right?
Yeah.
And so it kind of took out a little bit of the fun in the first time watching because I'm like, oh,
yeah,
shit, like we're singing along with the people that are like literally
bullying her,
and being racist towards her. Like it's not just bullying.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I didn't see it as racism the first time I watched it.
Yes,
it wasn't racism to me.
But that's what it is because it's all based on her looks. It's all based on that she's different. So like if you put it in that context, that song immediately dead. Like I don't want to do the cute little dance.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you don't consider it because you're like, green is not a race. Right?
Right.
But
right.
It is.
So like when you're seeing Idina play it, it's like, oh, it is just because she's a witch and she's green. Like that's weird. Right. Yeah. This is a fantasy land, whatever. Right. But as soon as you put that context, the real life context, it becomes something that you're like, ooh, let me think twice about this.
Yeah. Yeah. So, oh, you've made me think a little bit more, Zach.
And then one other thing I wanted to say as a takeaway, which was a little bit later on as I was processing, Defying Gravity, like we know that the queer community has actually gravitated, LOL, towards the song. I had never realized why until I was literally singing. I think I was packing up before going home. I don't even know. I may have been for Christmas. And excuse me. I started singing it with Cynthia's interpretation. And the moment she says something has changed within me, first of all, again, the nuances of facial expressions, the single tears, all of that added so much context. But the moment she said something has changed within me, I realized for some reason in this moment where I'm cleaning my apartment trying to just belt out a song for fun, that every queer person has a moment where they have to say, I'm going to choose myself. I don't regardless of everything that the world has tried to teach me about myself, I am going to put that aside and choose myself. And so in that moment, it hit me and I literally could not sing it without crying because I was like, whoa, there's this moment for me being a Christian, raised Christian, going to church, praying about being gay, having everybody know my business and ask me how I'm doing with things, going to therapy, all this stuff. There's a moment where you break free of that and you're like, you know what? No, I'm going to just live my truth. And I didn't realize that specific moment, I think subliminally I had realized it, and that's why we gravitate towards it, but I hadn't put the words to the fact that that's exactly what she's representing in that moment, is choosing yourself, choosing the right thing to do, regardless of what you've been kind of forced to believe prior. So anyway, I thought that it was...
No, I definitely feel you on that, and that definitely is my interpretation of that song.
Yeah.
meaning that that whole experience of watching that movie, I think definitely made me feel emotions that I haven't felt since I was a teenager or in my 20s. And yes, by the end of the movie, where you get to that point where she's saying something has changed within me, I'm sort of like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I can pinpoint that point when I sort of was like, I actually don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to be myself kind of thing. Because especially when you're somebody that is effeminate, which I was growing up, right? Still am queen. But like, you can't hide that part of yourself.
Right.
So you're gay from the time that you like open your mouth. Right. And there has to be a point at some point where you're sort of just like, well, fuck it. I actually am gay kind of thing. And I'm actually not going to change the way that I am for other people. Right. And so I can definitely remember when that happened in my life.
Okay.
And so that song definitely resonated for me in the same way, specifically about my sexuality.
Yeah.
Because I've been called gay before I even knew how two men have sex. I've been called gay. So
Me too.
Right?
Yes.
So there is a point where you're sort of just like, and I don't know if you was that person, but I denied it. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So like, there is a point when you're like, yeah, I am.
Uh-huh.
And you have to own that. And then when you own that, you can then own the fact that actually my hands do move when I talk.
Right.
And actually, I do like my butt to look good in clothes.
Amen.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
yeah, I feel you on that.
Yeah.
Cool. Gonna move on.
Yeah.
Deep or dumb?
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. So, one thing that I thought was very dumb, but I understood why people did it, was after people watched the movie, they were like, are you more of a Glinda or are you more of an Elphaba?
Oh.
In terms of like, how socially aware or impactful are you, right? And my answer was that most people are a Glinda.
Yes.
If you are somebody that walks past somebody that is homeless and you don't help them, then in my mind, most of us, as much as we would like to say that we are Elphaba, and there are obviously parts of Elphaba that we probably all are. And when I'm talking about all, I'm talking about socially aware, good people.
Right.
Right? But generally, we are kind of more Glinda, where we have to operate in the system that we're in.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Probably know better, knowing things could be better. But in terms of, are you willing to take that step that makes you feel uncomfortable to remove yourself from the system to make things better? The answer is no.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I didn't know this was a trend. I mean,
This was a trend.
I do remember seeing people be like point out like, y'all think that everybody thinks that they're an Elphaba, but actually y'all are just Glinda.
Yeah, everyone, they were like, this is mostly, to be fair, like queer and black people who were like, no, we're Elphaba because we stand up for people's rights, and you know, I go and march and I protest and shit. So like, I'm Elphaba, like I go 10 toes down for people.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, but bitch, you were past that homeless man.
Yeah,
you did nothing. Do you know what I mean? Like the way that Elphaba demonstrates herself to be in the movie is that she is willing to remove herself from a system to fight for the rights of other people at the detriment of herself.
Right.
And unfortunately, we're at a time in our lives where we believe that just tweeting is enough. Right. And we're not really doing anything that would mean that we're financially in harm, or our careers may go away. Most people aren't doing that. I'm not saying nobody is, but I would say majority of us are not.
Right. Well, now, to be honest, not trying to get into it all that much, but now, technically speaking, tweeting is removing yourself partially from...
Depending on what you're tweeting about.
Could be removing yourself from the narrative or from the...
It could be. It could be. It could be. It could be. But, like, I think that I still struggle with social media being, like...
Yes, it's definitely not the action item. The action item, it is not that.
I feel like it maybe was. I feel like it was more impactful before. I feel like...
Sure. Yeah.
It could have had real impact. I think now where we're at right now, where everyone's just screaming at each other and saying all kinds of shit that doesn't mean anything. and we're in the misinformation age. I just don't think it has the same impact that it used to.
Yeah.
Right? Otherwise, the black square would have worked during 2020. I think it's good for exposure. I think it's good for getting more eyes on a situation.
Yes. Yeah.
But in terms of does it change anything, I don't know if we're in that era anymore.
Right. Right. I don't know about like in terms of petitions and stuff that people are passing around for certain topics. Like
I always wonder where those petitions go.
Yeah, like if that's actually impactful or not. I don't know. We'd maybe have to do some research.
I don't know. It just feels like, not to go too deep, but like because politics has gone so far in terms of taking us to a place that is not normal.
Yeah.
We are more understanding of so much more than we would have been.
Yeah.
And so therefore, I don't know if a petition makes any difference like it would have 10 years ago.
Right.
Where people have been like, oh my God, we had 1 million signatures. We should really do something. Now it's like,
Yeah.
That was nice.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if that.
Because the reason why those politicians would do something about those petitions is because they're like, oh shit, there's 1 million people that might not vote for me.
Yeah.
Right? There's 1 million people that might not vote for me in the next campaign. So I'm going to do something about it.
Right.
Now where you're in an era where there are politicians that have multiple scandals and are still being re-elected.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, why do I need to read your petition?
Like, why do we care about public
care?
opinion, basically?
Yeah.
Because
I can just put something out and totally change the conversation.
Right.
So I'm not going to change what I'm doing.
Right.
Because of you.
Right. It's all backwards. But yes, you're not wrong. I would say like the protesting though is probably the closest.
Yeah, I think protesting, and that's what I mean. I'd still like in person, like tweet, but what are you doing in real life?
Yeah.
Right? And in person, real life impact, I think still counts for something.
Yeah.
I even think protesting probably isn't as impactful as it was 10, 20 years ago, but I think it still is a tool that we have that I think has more impact than petitions and social media.
Yeah. Yeah. I did read a study about the percentage of population needed to make change via protesting.
How much?
I think it was like 3%. Yeah.
Really?
So the magic number, I think, was like 3 to 5.
I thought it would have been more like 15.
No, it was like such a minuscule amount. But like it's your entire country though. So like you have to think.
3% of the population.
Yes. So it's not
3%
like
of the city.
Just the liberal cities protesting. It's got to be 3%.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, but it was this magical number. It was a study done regarding both peaceful protests and violent protests, and 3% of, regardless of whether it's peaceful or violent.
Yeah.
3% was the magic number of people.
The magic number, 3%.
So I'd be interested to know how many people attended this previous protest.
Which one?
The hands
free.
Hands
up.
Hands up.
Hands out. Hands off.
Hands up. Yeah, what I said. Hands free driving.
Hands free driving.
Hands off. Yeah, I'd be curious.
People dumb. Wicked.
Oh.
Moments for you.
You know, I lived for all of the looks, to be honest. I don't have a specific one that came out that I was like gagged over. But all of the looks, the coordinated looks, the photo shoots, every red carpet, I was just like loving seeing all of the fun and innovation, specifically that Cynthia was participating in, because she always had a hat on. She always had something done.
Nails.
Yeah.
Done.
I thought that was fun. But more importantly, I would say the Oscars performance, all the performances that Cynthia has done, but specifically that Oscar performance where they both nailed everything, was probably the peak for me.
Yeah, I think that the Oscars performance was incredible. It was obviously the opening of the show.
Yeah.
And I think the show went downhill from there, because I don't know how you could top that.
You really can't.
Do you know what I mean? I thought Stephen Colbert, the host. Colbert, Stephen Colbert. I don't know. Okay, the guy with ginger hair, the redhead man. He was great. Conan
O'Brien, right?
Right. Yeah. He was great. I thought he was amazing, because normally I can't get through those shows because the host is so dry.
Yeah.
And I thought he did a really good job of keeping
good.
people engaged.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I thought the girls killed it.
Yeah.
The ladies killed their performance.
Yes.
I loved the fact that it included The Wiz and The Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
I thought that was a really nice touch.
It was.
And once again, their looks complemented each other really, really well. And, you know, the fact that they were nominated for so many awards and won maybe costume, and nothing else.
Costume design,
it was nice.
First black man to win.
First black guy to win costume design.
Yeah.
I thought that it was incredible to have them perform to really show that audience that who were probably the people voting on who should win, why they made a mistake. And
well, I think we talked about this.
what did I say?
That people had said that they plan to vote for them next season.
Really?
Of part 2.
Are they?
That's the hypothetical.
To me.
But the way that the crowd was screaming, they better vote for them.
Well, I just think, I mean, I'm biased, but I think that, like, why do we have to wait for the second film that you guys might pan and say that is not great at all?
Yes.
And so they win no awards. Like, you have what you have in front of you now. Let's award that.
Yes.
So
Agreed.
I hope that is the conspiracy theory, which is a plan, which is apparently true. We'll soon find out.
Very soon.
Yeah, I thought the looks were great. I thought the Oscars was great. I also thought that it was great to see people on social media really engage in the amongst other things.
Kiki Palmer.
Yeah, I thought that was great. So I am looking forward to part 2. Okay, darling, let's move on to Dear Z and Lee. This is actually a question from my sister.
Yeah.
Because until we have people write in, we have to exploit the people that are in our lives. And she didn't necessarily say she wanted it on the show, but my sister knows me, so she's not going to have a problem with it. If she does, but anyway. So my sister is 25 years old. She is British and she is black because she's my sister. And sorry. You've confused me.
You also don't have to tell that it's your sister.
But it's my sister.
Yeah, but if you want to just say some person wrote this.
No, my sister asked this question. My sister asked this question.
Sabotage here.
And she said, basically, look, I've been acting for the last 7 years. I'm 25 years old. And obviously, everyone knows being an actor, especially an actor of color, female actor, it's hard, right? You don't know when your next job is coming. You're in a room with a lot of competition. And she's just like, is me following this dream stopping me from any other dreams that I might have in my life?
Right.
Is me following this, like, preventing me from thinking about the other dreams that I have in my life? And so your answer would be what?
Damn, put me on the spot. Well, I think it depends. I think it like first of all, she has to prioritize her dreams. If this is the main one, then she's got to go for it.
But she has gone for it. She's gone for it for 7 years, and she's like, it's not happening in the way that I thought it would be happening. Should I be looking at other things, or is that chickening out?
Not chickening out. I mean, you've given it. It's not like you canceled out before it even started. You tried to pursue. So give yourself a timeline. Say you give it another year, right? If something doesn't happen where you feel satisfied with it, then maybe it's time to move on.
Wow.
You know?
Do you want to have kids?
No.
Okay, good.
So my sound effect we can use on this.
Fuck.
Damn.
Give up. That was your advice. Give it 12 more months, then just give up.
No, but there's a reality there, right? Like if you are questioning things and you feel like maybe you're not getting the energy out that you're putting into it, there is a time that you can put a boundary in this pursuit for yourself. I'm not telling you to do it. I'm telling you to put the boundary, whatever that boundary is.
But
it could be in 5 years. It could be by 30. If I don't feel like I'm a successful actor, then I need to change. That's up to her to define. But I'm saying give yourself a boundary. That way you have the opportunity to change it up if you need to.
So do you want to hear what my advice was?
Sure.
My advice.
No. Goodbye. Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
My advice was you can walk and chew gum at the same time.
Yes.
So I don't think you should give up on this dream if you believe that this is the thing that you're supposed to add to the world.
Yeah.
But you need to also have a life outside of it. So explore other things while you're doing this.
Yes.
But like, you have to decide what kind of actor do you want to be?
Right.
Do you want to be the actor that is famous? Or do you want to be an actor because you want to be an actress? Because you love the profession and you would act to a room of people eating meatballs like as much as you would like act in the new Harry Potter series that's coming out on Max, right? So like once you can decide what kind of actor you want to be, then I think you can make that sort of decision. If you want to be an actor and you want to just be famous, then I think your advice is spot on.
Right.
Like give yourself a deadline, and if you're not famous by this time, then it's probably time to give up. But if you're in it for the love of the art, whether you are doing it 7 nights a week or 1 night a week, you are doing it because you love to be an actress. And I've always said to people that as long as you're somewhere acting, you are an actress, whether you are being paid for it or not. It's the people that speak to me and say, oh, I want to be a singer, but you're not somewhere singing, then you're not a singer to me. Nobody cares about what you're gonna do.
Right. Agreed.
So like my sister is acting. She just did her first stage performance, which I'm so proud of her for, because she told me that she didn't want to do stage performances.
I'm gonna keep doing these.
That's okay. Just get to the button a little bit quicker.
You can edit this out. You can put this, you can speed this up, honey. Fix it in post.
She's giving like OAP.
I have to read it every time. I don't know where the shit is.
Yeah, she didn't want to do stage. She said that she had too much fear.
Okay.
And I said to her, the reality that I'm going to give you is that as a Black female actress, you don't have the benefit of saying, I'm not going to do this part of acting because I'm scared. There are many people that have terrible stage fright and do whatever they need to do to push themselves out on stage. And every night they have stage fright, but they still make it happen. Because a lot of the people that do get good jobs in movies and TV shows, it is casting directors and producers that found them on stage. So you are then saying, I don't want that advertisement. Because it scares me. So she's now just on her first stage performance and I'm very proud of her. I like texted her. I was like, oh, you do listen to me.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So I think she's going to stay in it.
Yeah. Good.
Because I think she really believes that she wants to be an actress.
Yeah.
And, you know, speaking of somebody that thought they wanted to be an actor, she shows a lot more commitment to it than I ever did.
Yeah.
So I'm very proud of her.
Good.
And I will be there to remind her anytime she thinks that she can't do it.
Good. We love that support system. That's a safety net to fall back on.
Yeah.
Too.
I always say to her, like, look at people like Coleman Domingo or Viola Davis who only really found fame in their 50s.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, they were acting. They had small parts here. They had big parts on stage.
Yeah.
But no one really could say Coleman Domingo or Viola Davis until they were in their 50s.
Yeah.
And Viola is, or late 40s for Viola, but she's 58 years old and has just done a movie called The G20 and she's done all her own stunts.
Watch it tonight.
Yeah, it's good.
Where she's the president, right?
She's the president.
Yeah.
But she did all her own stunts in the movie. She's 58 years old. So just continue because you don't know what might happen.
Yeah.
But you need to build a life around it.
Yeah.
I think that's the missing part that people, it's all consuming, which it should be.
Right.
But there's no other life.
Yeah.
And so if it doesn't happen, you haven't built anything else.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, you have to have balance regardless, but it's such a trying field that you have to constantly be going out to go sees auditions and whatnot. So that time consuming. The reason I'm quick to jump to give yourself a deadline is because if you want to hold down a job and audition so much, like those are at odds constantly. Your job has to be flexible, right? Or you have to make your own hours so that you can quickly go to auditions, right? So that in of itself is just such an exhausting process. That's why I guess why I say like so it makes it harder to build things outside of that, right? Because of how crazy that process is. So it becomes a harder balancing act than the average person who has a 9 to 5, because at 5 you turn it off so you can build whatever outside of that. It doesn't work. I don't think it works the same for the industry, and that's
No.
where I say, okay, if that is something where you're not going to have the time to build or allocate energy towards the external portion of your life, then maybe a deadline for yourself is wise.
The other thing, though, is that some actors have also said, feel free to take a break.
Yeah.
Go and live life.
True.
Because you become a better actor.
Yeah.
So go and live life and
experience
things
that you can apply.
And actually, that might be the right time for
Yeah.
you to do it. You don't have to stay on the treadmill and tire yourself out. Get off it.
Yeah.
Drink some water.
Yeah, that's true.
Have a bagel
Cream cheese
with cream cheese.
Good.
Treat yourself. Okay, I think
Love
that brings us to the end of the show. That was wonderful.
Wonderful.
That was a really good first show.
Yeah.
It's as if we've done it before.
Oh my God.
Right? So if you would like to follow us on social media, that'd be great. That is at Holdin Space Pod with no G. On TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. My personal Instagram is at @LeeGray_.
Mine is at ZStoner22.
Great. And also, if you would like to send us any questions, anything that you'd like us to answer, it doesn't have to be a problem. It could be wanting to understand us a little bit more. It could be, do aliens really exist? It could be anything. Feel free to email the email in the show notes, which is leegray04@gmail.com. And thank you so much for holding space with Z and Lee.
And listening.
I'd hope to see you again.
Until we meet again.
Until we meet again.
I'm trying to think if there's a
wicked thing.
Wicked song. I hope you're happy.
Dancing through life.
I hope you're happy with this episode.
Happy right now. Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Bye.